Alright, this episode is going to be something different. I'm still going to talk about Linux in a sense, but we're going to talk about the cousin, Android, and open source. And lately I've taken on the project of FOSSify my phone. FOSS, FOSS, meaning free and open source software. And also removing all the proprietary crap, all the bloat that is possible to remove. Why? Some benefits to replacing your phone software to free and open source software are simplicity. These apps often do less things than their commercial counterparts, which is a good thing. So they focus on simplicity, functionality, and essentials. Then speed. Because the apps are more simple and they often follow the Unix philosophy of doing one thing and doing it well, it introduces another benefit, which I kind of referred to it earlier. There's less bloat, so the applications run faster, and they can even give a whole new life to an older phone. It will run faster, able to run those applications pretty smoothly. And lifetime, because there's less bloat, it also saves more battery over the phone's lifetime, and therefore more battery life to your phone, more expected life expectancy to your phone. Security. And once again, since they save more battery, there's also less spying involved in the background. There's no unexpected calling home, spyware running in the back, telemetry, and other things that are increasing your attack surface. So they're often more secure apps thanks to this simplicity and not making these unsolicited internet connections for no reason at all. And if you're extra worried about privacy and security, I would recommend to favor apps that will not connect to internet for any reason. And then fifth point, free. The apps are usually free of charge, no credit card nagging. But I do recommend supporting these projects if you can, monetarily or otherwise. Trust. There's certainly more trust and humanity to be found on the open source side. These projects are made by people for the people and not made by alien sea monsters lurking in the shadows, trying to destroy your privacy and gain profit from it. Control. You are way more in control of what your phone is doing, what is going on your device. No ads. The apps have no ads and no constant nagging notifications to do something, to buy their things. So, what applications did I install? First of all, let's talk about the base system though. Everything that I'm gonna build everything over. So your operating system, OS for short. I currently have the OnePlus 13 phone. And I had survived with a OnePlus 5T phone for about 7 years before that. I was able to expand the phone's lifetime considerably by using a custom ROM. So by default, your phone will come with the so-called OEM ROM, and this comes loaded with a lot of pre-installed crap. For iPhones, perhaps less so, perhaps not. The operating system is proprietary, so it's difficult to say anything for certain. What is true is you cannot truly uninstall any of these default applications on either iPhone or Android. So if you consider those default applications on your iPhone as crap, then yes, there's crap to be found. Well, unless you use a custom ROM, then you could turn into something like LineageOS. LineageOS, this is a ROM that you download from their homepage. Essentially, ROM in this case meaning an operating system, and you install it from their website, and you download the files, and you follow the instructions. As long as your phone model is supported, you're able to install that. If you depend on some commercial apps or their notifications, then you might want to install the micro G for running Google services and Google Play Store in the background. And if you're one of those lucky people who own a Google Pixel phone, then congratulations, your device will support GrapheneOS, which is the most secure phone OS in the world. And that's a fantastic base starting point. For us rest here, your best options are to check out if your device is supported by LineageOS, or to look for another custom ROM that might be able to support your phone. And if you're like me right now that has a phone which currently isn't supported by any custom ROMs, then you're stuck with the OEM ROM, or you could possibly find a stock Android version for your device provided by your phone manufacturer, which is supposed to come without all the phone manufacturer's custom applications pre-installed. Anyway, let's get on with the list of applications that I've installed. So, Accrescent, if that's how you pronounce it. This is an alternative store app that provides a currently short, curated list of privacy-oriented applications that you can download. I haven't used it much yet, but it might prove to be useful indeed. Aegis, Aegis. I own the hardware key known as YubiKey that I recommend everyone to get as soon as possible, and they also provide a companion app to it, which is not Aegis. But if you have YubiKey, then you can manage your MFA codes saved to that hardware key. However, if you don't own a YubiKey or any hardware key of that sort, or if you're having application issues or whatever practical issues with using it with your YubiKey or such, then Aegis is a brilliant MFA TOTP token app. So all the data is kept completely offline. The database where the keys are held is encrypted and password protected. By default, it automatically saves offline backups of the database file when changes are made to it by you. I cannot recommend Aegis enough. It is the ideal replacement for Google Authenticator or such things, or God forbid, Microsoft Authenticator. AntennaPod. Yeah, this to me is the gold standard of podcasting apps. It's like this whole list, it's free and open source. It's simple and to the point as well. Episodes can be downloaded either manually or automatically over Wi-Fi or mobile data or both, the usual thing. And episodes can also be streamed if you don't want to wait for it to download the full offline copy first. There is no support for searching episodes by keywords instead of searching only for podcast names. So for example, if I wanted to find more information about Debian, then I would get a list of all podcast episodes from every podcast that have the word Debian in them, instead of getting only the list of podcasts with the word Debian in the title of the podcast, which is unlikely to be very useful. Anyways, Aurora Store. This is an alternative front end for Google Play Store repository. So it's Google Play Store without being the Google Play Store. In other words, you can log in using your Google credentials, or even better, you can use it anonymously. But do note there that it's possible that Google will detect it is an unusual behavior and they will limit your app download speeds to a crawl. The problem, however, is solved by using it with Google account. The added benefits of over Play Store are that you are more in control of how you receive updates and it's not Google. Next, Auxio or Auxio or Auxio. I'm really not sure how to pronounce that, or maybe it's Auxio, more like a French type of pronunciation. Well, anyway, Auxio is a super lightweight offline audio player. It can handle playlists and sorting by genre and the usual stuff. I did have one issue once where the playlist would not update when I was changing the contents of my audio folder, but that was solved by clearing the app cache in the app settings. Otherwise, it's been smooth sailing. Yeah, extremely high recommendation so far. And Aves Libre, or Aves Libre, is pretty and lightweight photo and video manager, quite rich in settings, and it keeps its appearance legible and won't autoplay videos out of the box when you tap them from your library, so this suits my workflow pretty well. Battery notification. This is a simple app, as simple as it gets, in fact. Barely an app. It simply displays a persistent notification about your battery charge status, the voltage, and microampere. That's it. That's all it does. BatteryBot Pro, however, in my case I use BatteryBot Pro with the aforementioned battery notification because BatteryBot Pro is also able to save 3 months of battery usage data, which I can then use to make graphs to stay on top of how my battery is doing. Can be fun every 3 months. And more importantly to me, you can set alarms for when your battery charge drops below a certain percentage. If your phone doesn't natively support stopping the charging of some percentage, you can also set an alert for when the charge rises above a certain percentage. And also if your battery is running hotter than usual, you can set an alert for that too. I like to maximize my phone's battery life, so I set my low percentage alert to 50%. Yeah, that's just me, but you might set yours to something more normal, like 30%. And I have a temperature alert set for when the temperature rises above 40 Celsius, because that's an unusual temperature for my phone. That alert, by the way, has only been ever triggered by ChatGPT app when using the conversation mode with the microphone. So yeah, that's kind of weird. But the BatteryBot Pro, it hasn't been updated for quite a while, I think, maybe a couple of years. So take that into consideration if you decide to download it. But it's working okay on my end. Bookwyrm, spelled BOOKWYRM, is an app that allows you to list the books you read and you can write reviews about those books. So it's the open source equivalent of Jeff Bezos' Goodreads, essentially. It's not quite as active as Goodreads, of course. There's not enough or the same amount of people or anything. I still haven't decided whether I'm gonna stick to this app, but I might. It also has an option to import your book lists from Goodreads, and that worked really well. Less Jeff Bezos apps is a plus in my books. And as far as browsers go, I do admit I use Brave. And while it's not fully open source or anything, it's way too good and convenient for me to let it go at the moment. But if you don't care about things like aggressive tracking protection and background play, then maybe IronFox is something you should check out. Maybe it does have an aggressive protection against threats and tracking. I haven't really checked it properly, but it's a Firefox-based browser and I hear it's pretty good, but it doesn't support background play, which is a deal killer for me at the moment. Collabora Office. This is an open source equivalent of Microsoft Office or Google's Office suite. But if you depend on online collaboration, then you have to stick with Google. FOSSify apps in general, they have a lot of great basic utilities for Android, this FOSSify group. Those include their apps like Contacts, Camera, File Manager, Phone, Messages, Voice Recorder, and more. And no worries about not receiving your calls or texts. They will work just like always, even if you disable the OEM phone and messages apps. And yeah, you can just start using the FOSSify counterparts. At least as far as I tested it, these phone and messaging apps work just fine. Well, F-Droid is the app store where you'll get most of the apps that I'm gonna mention in this video, and I'm mentioning. This is the go-to app store. Not that it's selling anything, but let's call it an app store for any peeps who want to find open source apps. And despite the appearance of it being a little bit, let's say, outdated, it works well for me, works well for most people. You can add additional repositories to it if you find an app online that is not available in the default repos, for example, Session. fWallet. This is an open source wallet application for managing your so-called PK Pass files, such as those airline tickets and what have you. Concert tickets, I don't know, some passes. I almost never use these kind of things, but it might come in handy in the future. Island allows you to create a sandboxed work profile where you can keep all your less privacy respecting garbage apps, for example, if your life absolutely depends on them and you must keep them on your phone in some fashion. And when you don't need them, you can switch off your work profile for the day, which will automatically kill all the work apps at once. So you can also instantly copy apps from your regular profile over to the work profile in the island settings, which is pretty nice. KeepassDX is the Android port of KeePass, which is kind of the standard for these open source applications for managing your passwords. This application comes with similar amount of functionality as KeepassDX, which might be familiar to you on your PC. It's an offline password manager which you can use with your hardware key as well, or you can save a key file to a USB device, which will act as a second factor authentication, kind of like YubiKey. You can, of course, sync your KeePass database via your cloud if you wish, but I haven't done it, and it may not work as conveniently as with some proprietary apps. I have no use for syncing, so KeepassDX is definitely all I will ever want or need for password and personal info management. Kiwix, Kiwix, is an application to download Wikipedia articles or other manuals and pages as an offline copy for your device. It's great. You can choose from different downloadable packages and select how big of a copy of Wikipedia you want. Librera. This is absolute perfection. It's the greatest book reader I've ever used. It is lightning fast even on my 12-year-old bargain garbage phone, which is not OnePlus 13, of course. I have a couple of others here. So if you wanted to transform your old Android phone for strictly a reading machine, then this is the app to go with. It has extensive settings to get everything working and looking just right for you. And you can read the book in the regular way, kind of turn the pages, or you can use the auto-scroller feature, kind of forcing your eyes to go along with it and get things done and read a book in a certain amount of time if you are on a time limit or something like that. You can have the automatic page turn if you prefer, or use the Android voice reader feature. So definitely check that out. Markor is a markdown writing app. So it's like Obsidian, but more lightweight, and can also manage the to-do.txt plain text to-do format. So it's great for taking quick notes on the go, and you can search for text from inside all your text files. Definitely check that out. Material Files is a file manager for Android that uses material styling for Android apps. So it just makes it look pretty simple and sleek. It also supports FTP file servers and viewing your root files if your phone is rooted. MPV is in many ways the best video player for Linux. There is also this Android fork of it, which is also super lightweight, but file and playlist management currently on Android could be better. I will keep using it, but for managing playlisted files when I'm out and about, I'll probably continue using VLC for now. mupdf. This is the ridiculously fast PDF reader for Linux. It's lightning fast. Compared to Adobe, Adobe Reader will spend a lot of time opening, but mupdf is basically instant, and this Android port is also ridiculously fast. Enjoy. NewPipe. This is the wonderful YouTube front end that allows you to play videos on background and actually download the video files or audio files from YouTube to your device. Unlike with the official YouTube app, which may download it, but allows playback only with the YouTube app. You can use YouTube completely ad-free with this app and follow channels without actually logging into any Google account. I can totally see the benefits of the YouTube subscription model thing, and yeah, I guess you sort of support the creators and stuff like that, and you get YouTube without ads everywhere. But NewPipe, that goes perfectly alongside with it. And so the list of subscriptions, they are saved completely offline. You don't need to use a Google account to use this application, and you can import and export that data whenever you like. But I do have some differing experiences with NewPipe. It runs really well on my current phone, but on the old OnePlus 5T, it was running well, but it was also being a little bit clunky, indicating that it's using high CPU load instead of high GPU load, and it might crash from time to time when it's under those kind of situations. But also the exported list of my subscriptions seemed to be corrupted when trying to import it on the latest NewPipe version some years later. So might be I did something wrong, or the new version of the app no longer supported the old files. Well, apart from this little hiccup, I'm very happy with NewPipe, as I can just go on the road, stay on airplane mode, save battery, and watch 5 hours of news and interview videos, Sam Harris, what have you, if I want. Now, coming back a little bit to the whole todotxt format, we have something called ntodotxt. This is an app that supports the simplest forms of the todo.txt text file standard, if you can call it a standard. I'm not sure how standardized that actually is, but the idea is that all your to-dos are written into a tiny text file in a human readable form, and the app is then able to interpret and manage that file. It is super convenient, since if you ever need to move to another to-do.txt app, for example, you can continue using the same text file just like that. Or maybe you decided to stop using the format altogether. Still, all your to-dos remain in human-readable form in that txt file, and you can just pick it up and bring it wherever you want to take it to. So, you can use ntodotxt also with the WebDAV service, such as Nextcloud, if you wish. Me, I'm just fine staying offline. And I know that I keep saying offline a lot in this episode, but I'm the offline man. Obtainium is a different kind of app downloader, not exactly an app store at all. Well, not in the strictest sense, but it can look for the latest versions of apps from different sources that you choose, such as GitHub or GitLab. So this might be good if you don't want to depend on the traditional app stores at all, or you just need to look for apps from different sources for whatever reason. I haven't found a good use case for it yet, but I'm sure I'll play around with it in the near future. And naturally, you can import or export your settings. Open Camera. It allows you to take full control of your camera by giving you access to all the manual functionality of your camera. So you have boatloads of settings to choose from. However, this app doesn't support saving photos in the proprietary HEIF format. Also, related to the video format HEVC, also known as H265, basically. And by the looks of things, this app also doesn't allow saving or recording video at 60 frames per second, which my phone supports. So therefore, I'm kind of halfway stuck with my phone's OEM camera app and this Open Camera app, because I don't want to give up those 60 frames per second functions and stuff. So otherwise, great, I would say. Great and lightweight. OpenVPN for Android. Use this if you use VPN, basically. Any self-respecting or any trustworthy at all VPN provider will use the OpenVPN standard and provide the option to download their TCP or ODP configuration files, which you can then use using OpenVPN. You can log in to the VPN using the OpenVPN app. And for me, it even has the option not so frequently found in the commercial VPN apps, if ever. I haven't seen it, which is to force pause the VPN connection if there is no constant network traffic detected after a few minutes. This is really important. This is absolutely essential, especially if your phone doesn't have a good power management, or just has a small battery, or just gets hot easily when you're VPN connected. This is absolutely essential to me, so that the VPN connection will not drain your battery in the background. Sometimes I do find my phone dead after having the VPN on throughout the whole night with my old phones, not with OnePlus 13. Organic Maps. This is a great Google Maps replacement which allows you to save offline maps of regions of your choice. And it uses the OpenStreetMap map data. There are, however, without a doubt situations where you still need to use Google Maps. For example, to see store opening hours, or perhaps Google Maps just has some more up-to-date maps for some region. But yeah, test and see what works best for you. I use Google Maps occasionally on my browser if I need it. I'm not even sure when I'm using it if I really need it, but for those opening hours, yes, I do need it. OsmAnd, OSM, and this is another OpenStreetMap app that you could try. QuickWeather. No surprise there, it shows the weather. Shows it well indeed. You can choose between using data from the OpenWeather map or OpenMeteo. OpenWeather map or OpenMeteo service. I wasn't able to use the OpenWeather map as it looked like their API requires you to pay up, at least currently. Anyway, OpenMeteo worked out of the box. Maid SE. This is an Android cleaning app that can wipe out data of old deleted apps, clean the system in general, find duplicate files, analyze what's taking up your space, and these sort of things. I have also set up the app's scheduler if you want to use that, to clean up all the junk from your phone every fortnight, for example, or every night, up to you. For the app to do its job, you need to allow admin privileges to it. If that scares you, yeah, you can allow the admin rights only for the duration of your cleanups, for example. That's what I would do. Well, jumping on to Session. This is the instant messaging app that uses Signal's end-to-end encryption. Super famous by now, used by WhatsApp even, and Facebook Messenger, I believe. But Session doesn't require you to provide your phone number to use it. It also uses Onion routing infra on the background instead of Signal's centralized servers. You can also receive and send photos, videos, and even receive phone calls, send audio messages, the usual stuff. It's a fantastic option if you're looking to stay extra private with your phone and or use your phone without a SIM card, as I do. So the way to sort of log in, so to speak, and to connect with other users is to use private and public key scheme. If you don't know what private and public keys are, then you can check that online. But yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory when you download Session and just go through the natural steps there, next. I'm not going to go into more details now, but if you like Signal, then Session is the next natural step in your story. But this application may have problems sending notifications due to its privacy-oriented design, and it is somewhat slower sending and receiving messages than Signal, I've found, due to the whole onion routing, I believe. And the biggest issue is that probably no one from your contacts is using it currently. But hey, if you find one person who is into security, you and your friend, hey ho, you can have a blast with Session. Besides, it's really hassle-free to get it going without the numbers, without inputting your phone numbers or receiving these insecure SMS verification messages, which is a terrible idea for security. And then Signal, yeah, with everything said, WhatsApp users, for example, are the most easiest to convince to use Signal instead of Session. It's the lowest barrier of entry for normies, no doubt. It's just so easy. Signal's just brain dead easy. Signal's great, even with these aforementioned shortcomings. Use Signal. Simple keyboard. This is AOSP keyboard, Android open source keyboard, which does one and only thing and does it well. goes well with the Linux philosophy. It doesn't phone home like Google's keyboard does, and it is a fraction of the Google keyboard size. Gboard. You can even feel how much faster this is, and so much more responsive and compared to the default Gboard. You can also set the keyboard color to whatever shade you like. And this is actually important for saving battery, right? I've set it to AMOLED black, which will save your battery. Perfect. And ZArchiver. This is great open source zip app. You can create and extract zip archives, unsurprisingly. And then we have Olauncher. You may have tried or heard of different launchers for your Android. You've been looking at this launcher throughout the whole video. It's this thing right here. It's a thing that launches when you open your phone, essentially. In the case of Olauncher, instead of those addictive app icons of different colors, you'll see only a list of apps, which is great for using your phone with more intention without those icons. Those colorful app icons are distracting and they're addictive. So in case you want to get more things done, I think Olauncher is just wonderful. I prefer white text with the black background, but if you wish, there's more settings. You can also choose to have a minimalist auto-rotating wallpaper. You can choose up to 8 favorite apps for the things you see first when you open your phone. Or you can swipe up to get the full list of apps. And you can swipe left to use your camera or swipe right to get to your contacts. Wow. Well, alright, that was already an overload of information just app-wise. I will need to do a separate video later which will explain how you can change your phone settings to make your phone even more secure. Pretty basic steps, pretty easy to do. And last but not least, let's remember, these are all free, open source. There are just guys like you and me and girls hopefully doing them on their spare time most of the time. So if you can afford it, please remember to support the projects. And if not monetarily, perhaps you can spread the word, contribute code, request features or file bug reports and what have you. See you in the next one. Lonely teardrops are calling you, but I don't want to know it now.